because I believe every woman has a story to tell. And we all have so much more in common than we think. These are the women next to me.
So that's going to lead me into my next question. How do you cope? How do you cope with all this? You guys know that for me, it's the really dark humor. I think this. So the Instagram page is called The Cancer Patient. Super snarky, super inappropriate. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's all really true, 100% true. Real life things that happen that now as cancer patients, I think is really funny. If you would have asked me a year and a half ago, I would have been really offended by it. Been like, people don't think like this. People don't do this. This is not okay. And now it's really funny. So dark humor for me, I remember, so there's a fireplace in my family room that we had like all this spackling and like wall fixings on one side, and the other side was really nice from this fireplace that goes like floor to ceiling. So Jeremy had painted the one side of it like this gray blue, like the popular color, whatever it's called, but then decided to leave the other side this beige color for when we moved in. Over a year and a half of me asking him to paint that so our living room would be one color, or family room, whatever, so that like, but people really didn't notice because the fireplace was so big up in the middle that unless I pointed it out to them, they didn't know that one side was gray and one side was beige.
I would have noticed.
You would have, yes. So I remember being recently diagnosed, and Lauren, who happens to be Rebecca's sister-in-law, came over and was sitting with me on the couch, and Jeremy had been painting, and she's like, oh my gosh, you're actually painting? And he goes, well, I told her if she ever wanted to get it painted, she's going to need to have cancer, and here we are. I laughed so hard. So it's just, I mean, you just got to like roll with it and laugh, right? All right, so that's how I cope. Kimber, how do you cope?
Dark humor too. Like, I'll tell you a quick story. My husband, like you said, we're getting the deep flap reconstruction soon. So I've been an avid breastfeeder, like big advocate for it. I've always just wanted to do it. So I did it with all of my kids as much as I could, like 4 years straight. And I told him over and over and over again, when I'm done breastfeeding, because these guys, I don't know if you know, legit legendary across 3 counties. Not kidding. They were awesome. They were gorgeous. They were big. They stood up tall, like just pretty boobs. Hate them now, but whatever. Anyway, getting new ones. He told me, I was like, when I'm done breastfeeding, you are going to buy me new boobs. And he was always like, yeah, okay, whatever. Well, and then cancer and reconstruction, blah, 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 blah. He goes, hey, and it's on your birthday? He goes, I always told you I was going to buy you new boobs for your birthday when you were done breastfeeding. Look, you're done breastfeeding. Technically, I'm the policy holder. It's going to be done on your birthday, and you're getting new boobs. You're welcome, baby. I don't have to shop for you. I don't have to be stressed out about what you want. I was like, yeah, you're real cute. Anyway, but so yeah, so a little bit of humor. I also like a little, even though the isolation is one thing that kind of messes with me, I also like it because I'm kind of an introvert. So I will like to sit by myself and just kind of reflect. I also like to reflect with my smokable medicine. That always helps. And
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that coping mechanism from you.
And commiserate with you lovely ladies. Like, you guys get it. I can't always talk about things that I want to talk about with like my mom, because like you guys are saying, like my mom's fragile. She can't handle it. She's been to 2 of my chemo appointments, and I don't see her that often. She can't handle to see me sick because I was her only daughter until we had my sister when I was about 13. And my grandmother and grandfather basically raised me. Well, my mom was kind of more like a sister figure to me. So growing up, it was always like her and I against the world. And now that I'm sick, like, and I'm basically the matriarch of our family, I always do all the holidays. I've been cooking Thanksgiving dinner since I've been 12 years old. Like, I do everything. So for her to see me not be able to get out of bed or not be able to walk or just stand there and just start throwing up, like she can't handle that. So that's been hard. And by coping with that, like I try to FaceTime audio call her. Like I don't really FaceTime her as much when I look like I haven't even gotten out of bed in 3 days, when sometimes I haven't. So
For sure.
weed and laughs, I guess. My answer.
That's our next t-shirt.
Oh my gosh. All right, Rebecca, what about you?
So I'm back. I cope, I think, mostly with just kind of acting like it's not happening. I'm really good at ignoring it. I was given the nickname Doc when I was in junior high. There was 7 of us that were best friends, and we each got assigned one of the 7 dwarfs. And I earned that name because I was always the friend everybody went to for health things, but also mental health things. I've always kind of been the mama of every group that I'm in and take care of everybody, and I'm organized and I plan things. So I still am doing that, even though I have cancer. Like, I'm a prisoner of so many group text messages, which is great. But most often, I'm the one giving, like people are coming to me for parenting advice or things like that. So I think my way of coping is I'm still being that person and just kind of trying to help other people and deal with other people's stressors. So I just ignore mine. Which probably isn't very healthy in the long run, but it's worked for me for 40 years. So I think, whatever. And then just a lot of sarcasm, especially when I go in for appointments. If I don't leave an appointment with the entire staff laughing with me, I get upset. I'm like, "Ugh, I wasn't on my game today." Like, oh, we make a joke every time a doctor asks me or something like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm so good," and so great. And that's kind of just how I roll. And also, I've also created a new word, cancery. I use it all the time. I suggest you should add it to your vocabulary as well. It works very well. But yeah, so just kind of sarcasm and diving into everybody else's problems.
We appreciate you being on our group text too.
You're welcome.
What about you?
For sure the dark humor. Because I'm like, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Like, you can't change it. It is what it is. So there's that. Like mine, I feel like I knew this was coming eventually in my life. I didn't think it was going to be right before I turned 38. I thought I had a few more years in it before this train came barreling down my track. So my mom was 39 when she was first diagnosed. So I was like, oh, damn it. I got it like earlier than you did. Like I didn't even make it to 39. But it was like my mom and my grandma and my great grandma and like all 6 of my great grandma's sisters and like my great aunt, like it was every woman on my mom's side of the family. So like the first thing that my OB did, she was like, all right, well, we're getting you scans, but like, let's get you some genetic testing too. And I, for years, have been like, all right, well, the genetic testing is going to come back positive, and then they're going to tell me to just do a preventive, like mastectomy. So I'm going to wait until I'm done having babies and nursing babies, and then I'll just do that because it's positive. It has to be, because look at the family tree. And the nurse called me with my genetic results after I had been diagnosed and was like, so you don't have the BRCA genes. And I literally like dropped my phone and then like scram. And then, so then the nurse hears me being like, oh, like trying to pick my phone back up. And I'm like, okay, so you're calling the right person though, right? Like, you know who it is that you're talking to. Like, can you double check your notes? Like, did they switch the blood samples at the lab? Like, how does that work? And she's like, yeah, no, you tested negative for all of the breast cancer genes. And I'm like, so I'm just like lucky then? Question. What? So clearly there's some other gene that's out there that just hasn't been identified yet, because I mean, yes.
I think it's your
my husband, he wasn't even that surprised. I mean, he was surprised about this, but the whole thing, when we first met, I told him, I was like, you better enjoy my boobs while I got them, because one day they're going to be gone, because one day they're going to try to kill me and I'm going to have to chop them off. And I told him that very early when we started dating. And now I'm like, ooh, sorry, thought you had a few more years with the real ones. But so yeah, that whole like I mean, yeah, and if you don't laugh, you'll cry. But I kind of am trying to just, it is what it is. And, like find things early. We have modern medicine that's here to get rid of it. And there's surgeons can do amazing things and other people have it so much worse. So like just trying to find the silver linings and the blessings and things. Because, like how lucky that it's 2020, who thought we'd ever say that? And not 1920, because then we wouldn't all still be sitting here.
So true.